Good afternoon. My name is Miss Pleedy and I will be conducting this short yet direct presentation of resources for learning, expanding for professional knowledge. During this presentation, I will be presenting two resources that support linguistically diverse learners through the substrand of money and financial mathematics. Money and financial mathematics form a broad and indispensable view of real-world dynamics, such as a socio-culture, economical understanding, and countless of additional essential skills. Preceding the development of these skills and proficiencies of an engaging financial mathematics student provides a foundation for ensuring that young learners' success and comprehensive understanding. Learner diversity, getting to know your students. Amongst this learning, progressive for actively supporting students across all paths, it is essential to acknowledge the diversity of learning environment, inclusive of learning styles and considerations. Key considerations of this important learning tool include identifying learner styles, characteristics, preferences, strengths, barriers to learning, making adjustments or modifications to learning content, and finally, practicing differentiated instruction. The necessity to employ these key considerations is explicitly outlined by the Australian Institute for Teaching and School Leadership, Australian Professional Standards for Teachers. Linguistic diversity. According to English as an Additional Language or Dialect resource, Annotated Content Descriptors Mathematics Foundation to Year 10, the key components of supporting linguistically diverse or ELD learners comprises of deliberate consideration of each of the learner's individual level of understanding and specific requirements, ACARA 2015. This in turn must be facilitated through engagement with the specific learning content and adjoining curriculum. From a mathematical stance, an identifiable barrier towards understanding in regards to ELD learners is apparent when introducing technical terminology, especially in regards to vocabulary represented in similar yet separate connotations, according to language or dialect. Supporting ELD learners through mathematical problem solving. In terms of learning a specific concept such as mathematics, money and finance, a substrand of the mathematics curriculum, learners will become progressively involved in the proficiency of problem-solving financial equations which interconnect with multiple strands under the umbrella of the number and algebra strand. Specifically, learners will be engaged in active investigations of number and place value, representation of equivalent values, and patterning, all integral to the process of facilitating a broader knowledge and understanding of real-world financial dealings. Throughout this process, learners will be guided through content that is rich in multifaceted vocabulary and conventions such as number sense, building strategies for computation, and recognition of patterns. This is the first learning resource. It is a KWL chart. The initial learning resource is addressing barriers to learning and possible connections to misconceptions by facilitating all students, especially learners, identifiable as ELD via a graphic organizer such as a KWL chart. KWL is known as an instructional reading strategy and has been widely utilized within classroom settings to activate prior knowledge and scaffold identify areas in need of support, facing history ourselves 2020. As a tool rich in an organizational information, it enables both students and teachers with authentic opportunities for self-assessment and essential data for determining future focus areas. Additionally, the ease and accessibility of this tool provides teachers a resource that can be modified in accordance to intended learning outcomes and individuality of each student. This is a modified KWL chart intended to support ELD learners. In respect to facilitating a broader and understanding of mathematical concepts that are applied through number and place value in relation to money and financial mathematics, the KWL chart can be modified to contain visual reminders of key concepts or blank spaces, which you will see identified on the bottom. This knowledge can be used for prior writing, and this turn can be utilized as a concrete reference tool. Additionally, as a KWL chart can be deconstructed as a whole class, students will be provided a sense of community within the classroom, where collaborative learning is valued and active student support is endorsed. Beneficial pairing resources to work alongside the KWL chart would include a collection of concrete learning tools such as Play Money, hundredths chart, counting cubes, and a whole class deconstruction using a think aloud method. This is the second learning resource. It is a visual learner and is used as a warm-up or PowerPoint tool. The second learning resource has been specifically designed to ensure that all proficiencies are met and enabled by the incorporation of information communication technologies, or ICTs. The intention of this learning resource is to provide exposure to key vocabulary terms or vocabulary or terminology necessary to ensure comprehensive understanding for all learners. The resource itself is multi-purposed, as it can be either displayed by an interactive whiteboard or as a PowerPoint presentation with embedded hyperlinks for engaging student participation. Additionally, it can be printed into small PDF booklets for independent viewing. The design of this resource has been specifically modified to support ELD learners using both conventional language and pictorial representation, revision of key terms presented throughout the unit of learning. Towards the conclusion of the PowerPoint, a whole class challenge has been designed to overcome barriers to learning and any identifiable misconceptions in a manner that promotes a collectively active problem-solving environment. The purpose of this challenge is to overcome the common misconceptions in place value, especially in terms of calculating decimals found in exchanges of money. Through this activity, learners are encouraged to think critically at the same time as actively utilizing their problem-solving skills and abilities to accurately position digits while experimenting with various methods of partitioning and patterning. The final component of this interactive learning resource involves direct and initial independent learning via a link for Year 4 money and financial gaming. As the world of academia is ever evolving, as is the students' engagement of digital technologies, thus learners should be provided access to learning material that is meaningful to their world and current views. You will find that within the link there are several games that link directly with the Australian Curriculum Year 4 number and algebra strand. Do please have a try and let me know your thoughts. Thank you for your time and consideration this afternoon. I would like to ask at this present moment if there were any questions. Thank you and good afternoon.